what type of person we are all day long when we're confronted with different decisions. What type of person am I? And I would like to be known to myself as a fighter, is that I'm willing to fight for what I want and for what I believe in. And I think that, and that is why I think I would want to have courage be the one thing that is transferred. And I think it's because I'm going to go back to that season because I think it's relevant. Like, I was a really good student at Vanderbilt. I was vice president of the powerlifting team. I was president of the fraternity that I was in. I had a 3.8, I think, GPA, and I graduated in 3 years. But I was so afraid of not getting a job that I took the first job that I was offered from the first person, which was an introduction my dad had from a patient of his. And to be clear, so we were like, oh, it was a nepotism. It wasn't a great job. But I was so afraid that I would be jobless that I just took that job. And I only say this to say that, like, you can change your stars. Like, I was not the type of person who does the types of things that I do now then. And I retell those stories. I don't talk about them as much because honestly, I block most of them out because I was in so much pain during that period of my life. And the reason that I'm willing to keep making content and write books and all that stuff is because I know that there is another person who is going through a similar chapter and worried if they are sane or if it is only them, and it is not. And so, like, you can't compare yourself to people who are different chapters. You just have to believe that you can change incrementally, one behavior at a time over an extended period of time, and that those changes will aggregate, that they will stack up. Because, like, we don't know what the last chapter is going to look like. We only know what the next page does, and we get to write that today. And, like, I was so driven by fear. I was so afraid of everything during that chapter. And so it was like, other people's opinions. What if I fail? What if this doesn't work out? What if people make fun of me? Like, I had all this fear around it. And, like, the emotionality that I have now towards it is because of a mix of pity and pride that I have for that young man, the young Alex that was going through that, because I'm proud that I made it through that, but I also pity the amount of pain that I was going through to make that jump. And so I don't know who's listening, but, like, fear can be useful if you know that you were driven by fear to some degree. And in some ways, it's almost shameful to say it, because it was the reason that the word that I never want to have used described for me is cowardly, is because I behaved like a coward. I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of my dad's judgment. I was afraid of everything. And the flip that made it for me was just using that fear against something bigger, was that I was more afraid of looking back on my life and never having tried. And I knew that would be so empty, and I would be so filled with regret, and that I knew that I would beat myself up over it every single day as I got older, that existence was more terrifying to me than the practical consequences of me taking a step where I would fail. And it's very easy for me to say now to you or anyone who's listening, like, of course, the downside's not that big. You'll just sleep on a friend's couch, whatever. But at the time for me, it was everything. And it was all of the status that I had spent all of my time trying to accumulate. I was president of this, president of that. I'd done all the good grades. I had a good job on paper. And so whatever fuel you have, whether it's anger, whether it's shame, whether it's fear, even if you have all of them, like, if you know you have them, try and put them behind you to get you to run away from it. If it's right now, it's in front of you and it's preventing you from taking the next step. And so it's like, if you can just put it behind you so that you're running away from this future, it's like run harder away from the future that your current path is taking you towards that you're afraid of than the short-term path that running away from it is going to run you into. It's like you either have to be, it's like I'm taking some liberties here. It's like you can either fear the whip of the person behind you or the enemy in front of you, and the direction you face is the one that you fear the least. And so if you know that there's an enemy in front of you and a whip behind you, it's like you just need to, in the short term, increase the pain of the one that you want least.
Have you seen Succession?
The first season.
Okay, so
I don't watch it because it's too real for me. So it keeps me up. And like basically I get too like amped when I watch it because I like it, but I'm like, I can't do this before bed.
So
I need like vampires and like
in the final season, Tom is having a conversation with his wife and he says, I wonder if the pain that I would feel without you would be less than the pain that I feel by being with you.
Mm.
And that seems to be what you're talking about here.
It's 100% that. And
when you talk in retrospect about that period, about what that guy went through, it doesn't sound like pity to me. It sounds like grief.
Mm.
It sounds much closer to grief. Like somebody nearly died or did die or suffered a lot and didn't deserve it.
Oh, I think that person totally died. Like I don't want to say the man I was, the boy that I was totally died. And I think, the hardest loss that I had to take was the boy that I was in my father's eyes that was living up to his expectations, which is all that I wanted.
Mm.
And so sacrificing that, and it took years, and my dad and I are cool, we're great, but like for a season, that's what I had to sacrifice that person. And it was, all I had wanted was to make him happy. And so, and again, no fault of his own, but that is all I wanted. And so it's like I had achieved the dreams that I had as a younger man, and in so doing, it had become my nightmare. And that's why the third point that you read about, no one is coming to save you, everything is your fault, and you have to sacrifice who you are for who you want to become, I think is so real for me, is that you do. And like someone's dreams will die. It is yours or theirs. So you just want to make sure that the person who's dreaming for you has bigger dreams for life than you do.
Mm.
And sometimes well-intentioned people, because they want to be practical and they want to be realistic, have smaller dreams for you than you do. And if they have smaller dreams, then you should listen to you and not them.
Obviously, your dad built a story about what success looks like.
Yeah.
And you rejected it slowly but loudly.
Mm.
Now that you're about to have a child, what story are you going to tell that kid?
Of that period, or?
No, this story about what success looks like. Like how certain are you that the story that you tell your son isn't just a new version of the same cage that you had to break out of?
It's something that I think a lot about. How do I, the child is going to be born into, by the time he has memory, he will be the son of a billionaire. That's a lot. And in some ways I don't wish that on anyone, and yet I'm bringing someone into that, which has its own thought circles I won't get into. But I am going to focus him, to the degree that I can influence his behavior, on being courageous, on leaving nothing on the field. I will care endlessly about his effort and very little about the outcomes, assuming he controlled the controllables. And I will hold an incredibly high standard, and it is because I respect him and believe in him and that he has the potential to achieve it. And what's been very difficult for me, because I haven't fully defined this, and maybe I will by the time he's born or by the time he's a little older, is I've had trouble trying to define what a successful parent looks like and what a successful child look like. Because if we define a successful parent by the output of the child, there's a whole hell of a lot of people that have had pretty tough parents that have turned out really good. But then does that mean that the parents are good or bad? I don't know. And the successful child is the successful child that he is happy. I tend to reject that definition overall. Is it that he has purpose? I would probably prefer that, because I think happiness can be fleeting. Purpose tends to stick a little longer. But at the very end of the day, I think character, which I still just define as just huge sets of behaviors, I want him to be brave.